Oh, hello. People are showing up already. I'm just trying to make sure everything's working. I expect technical difficulties. Looks like it's working on YouTube. Oh, hello. I don't know if it's working on Twitch. I'm trying to do, you can probably see in the corner, the restream logo. I'm trying to multi-stream. I don't know what I'm doing. Stream Elements bot is running. Cool. All right. I don't know if Twitch is working. It's not loading for me. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm up in one place. Hello. All right, let me webcam. I don't know how much I like this music, but I will say it's DMCA free, so I can play it during streaming. Anyway, hello, welcome to my second stream. I don't know how many people are here, but that's fine. The plan for today is I'm in a whole new room and I want to start making stuff to go on the wall. We're going to do some 3D modeling, probably some 3D printing, and maybe some soldering today. I'd like to make like an RGB light or something. That's kind of my plan of action for today. On my first stream, I made a laser pointer for my cats that was shaped like a blaster of sorts. I don't know where it is, but somewhere around we still use it. Let's see. Let's see. Still see my chat overlay is not working, but that's okay. I guess I can look into that. What is it? Stream Elements? But whatever. I gotta drive, but good luck on the stream. Congrats on 20K. Thank you. Thank you. I know the 20K was pretty, I would say random. Because like the first stream we did it at 10K. That's what that was the purpose. The second stream at 20K was a coincidence. Should I post on the Discord that I am streaming right now? I may as well. Stream is live now. And then what? Probably just to my YouTube. Oh, I gotta sneeze. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, that's the worst. I was gonna sneeze and I can't sneeze. Okay. Ask me anything. Cool. Send now. Put it in my updates channel. Okay. I'm not sure what's going on with the Twitch. Let me actually. Hold on a second. Twitch stream is working. Sup? Sup to you. Okay. Again, I'm going to reiterate the whole point of the stream today is I'm in my new room. Hello, friends. I moved to a new apartment because the old apartment was getting renovated. They kicked us all out. Pretty sad and bad timing because I was working on videos and then didn't wind up releasing anything. 10 p.m. Q&A. Oh, is it 10 p.m. for you? It's 7 for me. Can I have a controller? Sorry, I'm not really giving anything away. I'm also not selling anything. But anyone is free to do so. I didn't know it was 10 p.m. I probably should try to plan for earlier. I live in California, so it's 7 p.m. for me. I think... Started Dexter's Laboratory. Yes, exactly. I think this is actually way out of time for European people. What time is it in the UK? UK. It's like the middle of the night, isn't it? Yeah, 3:07. I should probably do earlier streams. It's just hard because I do work. But I did work from home today. Anyway, well, we'll figure that out. I'm hang out. Can't answer any questions, but also what I'm going to be working on in this stream is setting up this new room here. This is going to be kind of the new set for like YouTube channel. Yeah, 3am UK. And stuff moving forward. I actually have a workbench already. I don't have a workbench camera set up like I did last time. Instead, my second camera is actually right here. You can see the webcam I stole from my fiance and put on a thing, and it's going to be it's the idea I'm going for here is like that's kind of what the backdrop's going to be, right? That'll be like the backdrop for videos moving forward. So I want to design the wall. So I was going to 3D model and 3D print out. I was going to start with like a sign. But I guess first, any opinions on something? I have this cool. I think this thing is cool. It's a Nintendo patent. I want to put it up on the wall. I was thinking I don't want it to be like in the middle, so probably, hold on, ready? Eh? Over here? Here? Think over here. Think about how tall I am? Probably here. I don't know. That's my thought. Have you considered making switch adapters for the split con deck to make a true abomination of a product? No, I haven't. That's probably doable if you can reverse engineer it. Because there's rails. Okay. Nintendo. Okay, yeah. Okay, good. We got. I'm not going to hang it up right now because I don't want to put nails in my wall right this second. Middle is for your face. Yeah, exactly. I think in the middle behind me, I want to do like the IKEA, they call it SCADIS, the IKEA pegboard, and I could just like hang random things off of it. But I was like, I can do it kind of across the wall. It also is storage, which is convenient. Hold on, look at it. I'm like a streamer. I like know how this works. I'm gonna do like these, I think, across the wall, more in the middle. But I also want to do like a sign. Have you guys heard of Modustrial Maker? I don't know if you guys watch this guy, but he has. You got to find for when he does like talking head stuff. Oh, I think he's actually changed it because he's got art in the back now. I love all sorts. Yeah, SCADIS board is great. I already do have a SCADIS on the back of my like workbench. It's got like the tabletop mount, and that's been great. I'm trying to see if I can find an example, but this guy made like a big sign behind him. I'm not gonna do something as big and grand as him, and he's like very artistic. But I want like a little sign that maybe says Tommy B. Scotty. Skippity. Yeah, he does all this really cool stuff. If you like cool artsy things, it's definitely a cool channel. He makes a lot of stuff out of concrete. See, I don't know if he doesn't do the talking head stuff that often. Anyway, okay. What if I just did my sign? Yeah, there you go. I just Googled that. No idea if I ordered the split deck parts assembled. How do I check that? Who did you order them from? I did it through JLC PCB. And if you did it through JLC PCB, when you go to check your order, you'll see two things. One is like the PCB, and then one's PCBA. That'd be how you check that. And it never comes fully assembled because you'll still have to solder on the jowl yourself. And then, yeah, basically. I realized that I am working on like proper ordering instructions, make it less confusing. I did post some stuff like in the QA, and it just shows what things to order it with. if you are going to try to order it assembled, if you order it unassembled, that's okay. Like you can still assemble it. It's not that complex. The hardest part is really the chip on the trackpad. Oh, you can't even see this because my thing's in the way. See, like that, kind of what I was thinking. Well, not that. I want to make like a much smaller 3D printed like RGB sign. JLC-PCB, maybe LCSC. Yeah, LCSC would be who like does the parts for JLC-PCB. I think they're all kind of the same company. LCSC is like Chinese DigiKey. Anyway, I can close this now. Okay. So, oh, I had my 3D models open. Let's make a new one. This is new. They just added this when I opened it today. I think I just want new part design. With your logo. Yeah. I was thinking it might just say my name. I mean, I don't know if I want to do it with my logo. Maybe? I actually have a clock I made with my logo. That's a lot of syllables without today's sponsor, PCBWay. I think I've used JLC-PCB as a sponsor more. I don't know. I probably shouldn't say too much. So I was thinking, what if I did, so I can create text, right? This is all new. I didn't used to do that before. Do something like pretty big. And just, you know, have it say like Tommy B. And then probably do some cool font. What's a cool font? That's actually where I don't know, because there's so many fonts. You did not order it from JLC? Yeah, then I can't say I know how to check if you got it assembled or not. No, I mean, you don't have to order it to JLC-PCB. There's a number of never soldered before. I will say this might be a bit of an eager project to start if you've never soldered before. It's doable, but like there's always going to be sub-soldering involved no matter what, because there's no completed boards. No, not a good papyrus for the win. Okay, yeah, I wouldn't say this is a good one. Ordered the parts directly. Oh, from LCSC. A learner kit. Yeah, soldering isn't too tough, and the soldering involved here isn't too crazy, except for, again, the trackpad PCB. That one is tough because it's they call it QFN with a 0.5 millimeter pitch. That's the pins are 0.5 millimeter apart, center to center. Like they're really close, and so that was actually something with the when I did the Linus video. I brought a spare PC trackpad in case he was having trouble soldering it on. And we had only allowed it like a certain amount of time to film, but we went way over. And part of it was probably we just needed more time, but then also it was like he really wanted to make sure he did it right. I brought extra stuff. I'm like, it's totally fine. We can just use this. And he's like, no, like let me try to fix it. Just one more try. And he did eventually fix it. Like he did it all himself, but that was pretty funny. Okay, you said papyrus, right? Papyrus. Yeah, that's not too bad. I mean, here, let's make it bigger. 10 millimeters is way too short. I was thinking like 150. I don't know. That's maybe like not thick enough, you know? Like, see how that's really thick? I thought I was ordering the assembled PCB and only had to do the buttons. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what you ordered. But I mean, eventually things will come together, I guess. We'll see. Avatar is just papyrus. Paris is an inside joke for graphic designers. Ah, see, I don't get it because I'm not a graphic designer. I like this font. I use it a lot when I'm editing, but I use the light version. I think this is a very generic UI font. I mean, as it probably says. Yeah, I do this light one, and then I do it with an outline, and then a little bit of a drop shadow. Any thoughts of making case we order the one controller? Even SNL didn't skate on it. That's funny. I honestly cannot sell kits myself. I'm just not able to. If somebody else wants to do something like that, they totally could. I don't see that happening anytime super soon because like a lot of people are just finding out about the project now and assembling them. I imagine if somebody is ordering it now and they assemble it and they don't think it's too much trouble and stuff, then they might think about doing it. Like I hope it's clear that anyone can make and sell these. I've completely open sourced it, the licensing. Paris and Comic Sans are the graphic design. Yes, I do know Comic Sans. Webdings for the mysterious. Could do webdings. This is like on the right track, but it's still really weird. I can also just start. This is one of those things that I can make pretty quickly, and then if I don't like it, just completely change it. Stencil, the classic. I almost like this. Uni Sans Heavy Italic. I don't know. What do you guys think? Could just do emojis. I don't have a set font, you know? On my YouTube, all I have is this badly handwritten, please stand by. And then I have this that I paid someone on Fiverr to make. Which is actually super rad, but I don't have my own font, you know? Comic Sans for me. You know what? Maybe at least for now. And if we hate it, we can always change it, right? That's the beauty of 3D printing. Maybe we just send it on the Comic Sans. Sick. Alright. How tall is this? I made it 150 millimeters tall. Because what, my print bed is 256 by 256. I can print like 2 letters at a time. I'd also want to think of how to connect them together. Because I want to do Iron the Big Leagues, perfect. Wait, now it's showing up in my chat overlay? Why didn't it work before? Hey, whatever. Okay, well, I'll show you guys a little trick here. When you do text, I think you gotta go... It's somewhere. You can change it into... And they change things on me. Create... explode text. There it is. It's perfect. Now you know the letters better. Watch out. They're putting some numbers on paper this weekend. Not scalping. I just think your idea is more merit than just... Oh yeah, I mean, this is a completely open source. I'd love people to modify too. And just, yeah, do whatever they want with it. P1S or P2S. I have a P1S, but I think if I was buying one right now, I'd probably just buy a P2S. You know, I think the AMS2 Pro is like the big change though. I think the P2S may not be as worth it as like the AMS2 Pro. Having like the integrated filament dryer inside of the AMS is huge. I mean, I still have my Voron printer over there, which I actually do need to use, and I will use on an upcoming project, upcoming video, because it's 350 by 300. It's huge. But the Bamboo is just so convenient, right? And then with the AMS, I just load it up. There's different kinds of filaments in it right now. I have PLA, I have PETG, and I have translucent PETG. So it's like just being able to just click the one I want to use right then and not have to go through the whole process setting it up is huge. But like having PETG in there, PETG loves to absorb water. So after a while, even though I have desiccant, it'll get wet and it won't print well anymore. And that's where like the AMS2 Pro is like huge because it has the built-in dryer. Okay, so it wasn't in the LTT video, but did you like cut up an extreme rate case? Yes. Do I have it handy? In the files you'll find like a jig. It's like this. So like it fits on the extreme rate case and it literally goes over, and then you can just cut it. And then because it's like flat, you can then just sand it like this. It's in the written instructions. I think it's also in the original video. The very first video I made. Did I put it in there? I would have put it in there. Yeah, just cut it. I got the Ebos Tetris incoming by the end of the month for my OG. Ebos Tetris. What is that? I use my P1 more than my P2, and now I can control the dryer and the AMS2 from the app. Has been great. Oh, you have both, a P1 and a P2? That's very interesting. I feel like the only reason I would even have both is if I was printing so much that I was limited by only having one printer going at a time. Epos, Tet, musical amplifier. Oh, upgrade your Bamboo AMS. I don't know what this was talking about. Oh, whoa. This is almost like a complete. Whoa. It's almost as expensive as the AMS is, though, you know? The jig is in the GitHub repo, yeah. I'd like to see what a controller with all the original parts, sans the internals, would look like. So there is another. I think I've talked about it before. Let me see if I can find it really fast. Steam Deck controller. Oh, what's the guy's name? But there was a guy who took like his old broken Steam Deck and made a controller out of it. And there's a small community of people that do that. They're kind of affiliated with the community that reverse engineered the original Steam Deck. What's this guy's name? Camp. This guy, right? He did a whole thing. Right, he actually like from the original parts of a Steam Deck. Yeah, Tetris is cool. I did look that up. But this guy's project's really sick. And I was seeing if I could adapt their controller, because this is more ergonomic. Just the shape that they came up with. Into mine, but there's a bit of difference between the LCD and the OLED stuff. Yeah, they make a bunch of stuff. Oh, here's his GitHub. SteamPad. Yeah, so I think yeah, they did to USB-C, because internally in the Steam Deck, like the actual Steam Deck, the controller part is just a USB controller. Like if you open up, it's Linux, you can open up ls USB, which lists all the USB devices. You'll see the Steam Deck controller. So that was something we were originally looking into for my project too, is if I could like mimic it over USB. I was having a lot of trouble because they do a lot of weird things, being Valve, right? They listed as 3 separate HID devices, which is actually pretty normal, right? Do controller, do look up Avis models, make cool shit, put the internet. I've heard of that guy, AVE, right? It's like a A and a capital like that. YouTube, right? Oh, the other way around. Capital A, lowercase. I have seen this guy. I'm not subbed to him. I should. When was the last time I watched one of his videos, though? I'm outing myself. Okay, but I'm subscribed. I will definitely add that to my list. I have no clue how to get the stuff I need from Osh Lab to GLC PCB. Oh, if you open it up on the Osh, I don't even know how to pronounce that, Osh W Lab, and click open an editor, it'll open up an easy EDA, and there's like an order thing on the top. Adreno against evil? Or Arduino against evil? Arduino. I don't know. I will say, as time goes on, I'm trying to move more and more away from Arduino. There's actually somebody recently has been working on building one of my old projects, my ESP32 fight pad, and they've been having trouble getting the stuff compiling because none of the libraries match anymore. There's a whole kind of, because I feel like when you're doing Arduino, you're so dependent on people's libraries. But yeah, they opened issues. I've been trying to help them. I don't know. I was able to get it to compile. Anyway, I'm way off topic now. I'm gonna put this in the chat in case anyone. Oh snap, Tommy B. Anyway, I'm putting this in the chat in case anyone wants to look at this, because this is pretty cool. This is a different sort of Steam controller project than I did. I did the split, and there's also, they took apart a real Steam Deck and then just like harvested. So I do think there is a push for them to work on making their own, like trying to make it like an exact copy, so they could actually flash Steam Deck controller firmware onto it, but I don't know how far that's gotten. Anyway, back to what I was doing. I'm gonna try and make a lamp or something like a LED light. I think we start with probably just the letter T. We're doing Comic Sans here. I think I want this to be a little bit thicker, if I'm being honest, though. I think I just need to make my make me a little smaller. I'm not the focal point. Is there any legal issues with the controller, especially if you're trying to make Steam recognize it as a Steam controller? Great question. I'm not a lawyer, so I have no idea. I would say Valve would probably be within their rights to send a cease and desist, but I never received one. I don't think they're too concerned. Yeah, Valve is usually accepting. There's only a few times I've seen them draw the line in the sand. You do get into iffy territory when you are spoofing someone else's device. I mean, even right now, I'm using the PID VID of Handheld Legends. That's who made S-Input, right? The protocol I'm using. But I also, because I don't own my own PID VID, that's like the USB enumeration stuff. It's like, it says what company it's coming from. You know, to get one of those, it costs a lot of money. Or Dolphin. Dolphin? GameCube? I don't know. Very confusing. You should probably add that to the build guide. How to actually order. Yeah. I was realizing that I probably should make like an ordering instructions for people, especially if they're unfamiliar with using these websites. That's definitely on me. So I am actually working on that. I'm just a busy guy. I try for work, but I think I've been looking for this. Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah. Want to buy some random PCB components? I'm gonna be honest. Don't forget to like the stream. Yeah, like the stream. I'm gonna be honest, I have like boxes of random PCB components. Maybe I should move my, oh, wrong one. Move my face out of the chat overlay. Should I go on the bottom? I'll go on the bottom. No helpful, never done anything like this before. Yeah, I'll work on making ordering instructions for, I'm gonna make it for JLC PCB. If anyone has their preferred ones, they'll have to find a way to translate it. I've only really ordered assembled PCBs through JLC PCB, never any other service. Anyway, back to this. 20 is too big. I don't know, let's see. If I took this and made it just 10 millimeters tall, I got a nice T. Does that look weird? I think, you know, maybe it's not round enough here. Is that better? God damn it. Maybe if that's too much. Let's go with just 10. Minus 10. The components are gonna become junk. Something I'll keep around for 4 years and throw away 2 weeks before I need them. Yeah, that's kind of how it feels. That's how it feels a lot when I moved. I threw away a ton of stuff, right? You always do when you move. And then I got here and I'm like, where are those little PCBs that were in that big box of junk I threw away? And then I had to, this literally just happened. This is a thing I built a long time ago. It's like a little 3D printing helper. He has a screen as a face, but I had to bastardize him. I had to take parts out of him. So he doesn't work currently because I had ran out of parts and I needed to finish a project because it was like it was actually the middle piece with the ones with the battery. I don't know, how long did that take since the start of the stream? 30 minutes before I made a wiener. Only papyrus looks like a good idea. Yeah, okay, we're gonna still work on this one. I think I'm gonna bring this in, minus 2. No, I mean 2, positive 2. And here, let me show you what I'm going for. My mouse just died. There you go. The idea is 2. This will go up. Actually, so I want to put these RGB strips inside of it. How wide are they? $10. I just made it 2, so call this 12. Call it 13 for good measure. Right, got something like this. Still might look a little bit like a wiener. It's really this right here, you know? Why can't this be like smoother? Can I? No, that's worse. Ah, man. I think we gotta go with a different font. We're gonna go back to the fonts. We're not going papyrus. That one's pretty bad. This one's like a little plain, you know? I don't want it to be so plain. That reminds me, I should really call him. Oh my god. I don't know. This suddenly. Whoa. This one's kind of interesting. Maybe not bold. Very angular. Less phallic. I think that's a plus. I'm gonna just give this one a look. And do the explode text thing. I don't think I need to add, make it thicker. I'll just make it 2. thicker anyway. Maybe I'll do that to just all of them. -2. -2. Actually, useful font. I do like the Google font Monda. Monda. Is there a Monda font in here? It said Google font, so I might have to be when I install. It just goes from N to O. M N M N. I know my alphabet. Yeah, it doesn't seem I have it. There's a Mongolian. We're gonna explore this one for now. I'm feeling okay on this one. I think maybe Angular is a little better. Less wiener. And we'll do 2. And then, I was like lose track of what I'm doing. Oh, they're already connected. That's good. We want them to actually be connected. I'm gonna do 13. Let me cut these holes. So yeah, the idea would be that like the LED strip can stick to the sides in here, right? And like wrap around. And then the top, like we'll make a top for it that is probably white or some sort of translucent. Either like I laser cut it or I 3D print it. Something like that. And then I actually should go back in here and do this real quick. I'm forgetting to hit extrude. Right, so I got something like that, and then I gotta make a thing. I have a huge fan of fonts where I actually look different. Oh, I and L. Exactly. You have a timepiece font? Most famously use timepiece font. Timepiece font. Font family. Oh, like that? Is that a Clockwork Orange font? Oh yeah, totally. That's interesting looking. There's a lot of these splits, but I could just get rid of the splits. This is a very 70s vibe. I like that the bigger letters go down instead of up. We'll keep this one in mind. I should actually look up the other one too. What was the person? Monda. Oh, it's very clean. Is it this one? Oh yeah, this is very I just started my own company and I'm trying to get Series A funding kind of font, you know? Well, this is just clean. this is a little different. I think it's probably more like this. Anyway, I'm gonna go with this for now. Do you want any help writing up the purchase guide for the split deck parts? I mean, sure. I don't know what you were thinking. I was basically just gonna like do mostly screenshots, I guess. Kind of like how the build guide is. Like the build guide's like a lot of pictures and then just describing what's going on. I already have a lot of the screenshots from like the stuff I did, and it's just thinking I need to add instructions on like how to go from the Oshlab page to ordering it. I didn't think that. Yeah. Oh, right. Not sure if you saw my question. Is there any plan to integrate these controllers with something like your previous Steam Deck? And if so, would you like to make the magnetic attachable? Congratulations, I received 100 messages. I can tweet that. Yes. You guys are here. You can get the sneak peek. I'm already working on a V2, which is right here. Now don't go telling your friends. This is a secret between me and all 10 of you. This is so right now I added these legs onto it to make it a standing screen. But the idea is oh, that's the front of the case. And then I don't need that, but that was just to make the screen stand alone. I grabbed an OLED screen from AliExpress and it's actually quite big. So a part of what I'm going for this new one is because the controllers will be detachable, right? I'm going to use the Steam Deck controller as part of this project. And because they're detachable, I want to make something that's actually more similar to like the Legion Go, right? Where Legion Go has a bigger screen and you can put it on the desk and pull off the controller and then hold and play with it on the desk. Something I ran into with my original Steam Deck controller. This is a V2 Firmware console. Yes, exactly. And I said Steam Deck controller. My original framework handheld is that it's very heavy and it's big. And there's no way around it, right? It's just gonna be heavy and big. So why not just lean into that and like if it's heavy and big, make it have a stand where I could then put it down on like, you know, a tray table of an airplane or like on my lap. Because that is mostly even how I use my Steam Deck. It's just big and heavy. It's gonna be that way. So bigger screen, let's make it OLED. It'll fit the case better because my original framework, the sides of the motherboard actually extend into where the controller parts are. It was just so big. I first thought when I saw this project it can be integrated into the framework handheld. Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm just gonna be honest right now. That was the original point. That was like why I was making it. It's because I was been working on a V2 this whole time, and I'm like honestly, the Steam Deck controls are the best for the handheld because of the trackpad, right? The trackpad you use as the mouse and make it so you can navigate it like a whole computer. Right, and the left trackpad becomes your scroll, and then you click with the triggers, and it's wonderful to use overall. And the framework is a laptop, right? So the Steam Deck controllers were really the best way to do it, and so it's like, what's the easiest way to do it? It's just to copy it, right? Just take the existing one and do it. So yes. Anyway. This is definitely going to be integrated. This is what I'm already working on it. You can see, spare card. This is the motherboard. That's the case for the screen, but the rear frame. Things look like they got moved around a little bit from when I last messed with it. Oh yeah. So yeah, that's what I took it from. So this is what it's kind of looking like. It's basically going to be a framework tablet, right? And the controllers can stick on the side. That's effectively what it is, because the controllers aren't going to be integrated anymore. It's going to be more so a framework tablet. So this might even be easier to assemble than the original one, because it's going to be more separate modular pieces and won't need to be printed on such a big 3D printer. A big thing I'm doing right now, as you can see, you can't see because my face is covering it. This is 249.39 millimeters. That is just under that 250 millimeter cutoff that most 3D printers are. So I'm trying to make it so everyone could be able to print it on a standard 3D printer. It wouldn't need a massive Voron like I have. Anyway, let me go back to these questions. I'm going to be trying to print... Oh, sorry. Oh, so many things. Why not put ABXY PCB on top of the framework MOBO to make it shorter? That is kind of how the original one is. The sides of the framework stick out below the controller where like the ABXY is. But that was all hand wired. There's no PCBs. But again, like I think I'm just gonna lean into it and just make it big. Like it's gonna be big, just make it big. And this is an OLED screen too. I believe it's 11 inches. I have to double check. I have it in my closet. And it's a beautiful screen. I think the only thing it's missing is that and they're so hard to find, but it's only 60 hertz. I can't find a higher refresh rate screen than that. Okay, well, it doesn't matter what size it is. It's big. I'm going to be trying on my 3D printed parts. Have you seen those people make super detailed statues out of 3D printing pen? I have seen that. I want to try a smoothing technique they use to make my center connectors smooth. Interesting. There's a lot of cool smoothing techniques. Yeah, they kind of basically iron. Like, you know how your 3D print head can iron? They can do it on like 3-dimensional surfaces. Honestly, it gets me excited for the Switch-like device with integrated controls without the Nintendo DS. Yes, I mean, this is all, in a way, like these projects are things I'm making for myself. Like, I like that it's Linux and it's literally a full-blown computer. I love the Steam Deck because of that. I just kind of do wish the Steam Deck had a bigger screen and that it were a little more powerful. So again, I'm working on this. I should say like Framework actually sent me one of their new boards, so I'm gonna be able to put a super powerful board in this. Like this will probably be one of the most powerful handhelds around, other than like the was it Aya Neo ones? Reconnecting. Yeah, what happened? Okay, I don't know if whatever just freaked out a little bit, but anyway. Honestly, 60 hertz on a handheld is plenty. I usually play on Steam Deck at 40 hertz anyway to save battery. Yeah, I mean, 60 hertz is totally fine for probably like 90% of the games I even play. The only games where I feel like I don't like it, and it's mostly mouse and keyboard, but like sometimes playing shooting games on the Steam Deck, I do try. Like if I'm playing Doom, I like it to be at higher refresh rate, or you know. But at a certain point, it kind of feels like a marking number. A lot of the games I really like playing, like Elden Ring and like those solo single player games, and those usually run at 60 FPS anyway. Like they're locked, can't even go higher. How do you get into designing PCBs? I'm a huge tech nerd, but can't comprehend designing a PCB. I will say I have the advantage in that I studied electrical engineering in college. And we don't necessarily take, unless you have the specific concentration, but I don't necessarily take classes on it. But you do learn kind of like the fundamentals of like what's important, you know, like not having big ground loops and stuff. But anyway, it's still not as hard as you think. There are plenty of people who are not electrical engineers that can design a competent PCB. I would say, like, if you're looking to get into it, a good place to start is there's like a subreddit, PCB help Reddit. What's it called? Is it just r/PCB? Good place to start, and you can just like read about people's things. You could start with simpler projects. I think a really cool one would be like making a fight pad, if you like fighting games, using GP 2040 CE. GP 2040 CE. Something like this, and you can make a fight pad with it because it doesn't really require any passive components, just like the footprint of the thing you're going to solder on, which you could use. I grabbed them here in case we did get this far in the project today, which seems like we may not, but that's okay. But these little, this is a RP2040 It has a bunch of pins, and if you like fighting games controllers, you can make like a quick PCB that has a place to solder a couple wires to that go to buttons, and then you could play video games with something. Like, it's tangible, and it's cool. I think there already is some stuff out here if you wanted to like reference other people's. Anyway, I don't know. That was just an idea of a project. Oh my god, it was so much fun now. I love this project and I like Linux. Yeah, I like Linux. And it's funny, I've mostly used like Ubuntu and Debian, and I guess Linux Mint, but they're all sort of the same. I guess Debian's a little more lower level. But you know, messing around with the Steam Deck, it's based on Arch, so a lot of the commands are different. And then I have also been messing around with, I have a mini PC in my living room, and it's actually, I have like Moonlight set up so I can stream games from my desktop here in my office to the living room. But I put Bazite on it because I've got recommended Bazite 1 billion times for that handheld here on Linux right now. It's sick. But I got recommended Bazite like 1 billion times. So I finally installed it, and I love Bazite, but it's Fedora, when Fedora has different commands than Arch Linux does, which also has different commands than Ubuntu because it's Debian based. And now it's like, it's hard to keep track of all the different ones. Like, I don't know how many times I've typed in, you know, sudo apt install on on the Fedora one just for nothing to happen, or ask me like what the hell apt is. Like, oh, do you want to install apt? So there's a lot. And then Arch Linux uses Pacman. But I guess it's easier now. You don't really actually need to do much command line. Been using this for 6 years. Basically, once Proton started being a thing, I actually play games. Yeah, Proton is amazing. I don't know if you've seen some of the benchmarks. Some games run better in Proton than on Windows, which blows my mind. Most games don't run as good, but it's usually like negligible differences, like, you know, like 4 to 5% like performance loss. Like, that's crazy. So cool. And that's actually what I'm most excited for with all the Valve announcements, is they're doing a Proton layer for ARM CPUs, because that's supposed to be what the new VR headset is running, like an ARM processor. And so Proton with ARM, so people can start gaming on ARM processors. I think things will start changing in the world very fast. Maybe even beyond just gaming, just running full 64-bit applications on ARM is going to change the world. You run Linux on your daily. I use Linux a lot for work. On AMD specifically, I do not use Linux on my daily. This desktop here that I'm on is Windows. I think a lot of it is just the applications I need and use are on Windows. I used to, well, not even used to, I still have it. I have a live like SSD that has Ubuntu on it that I was using for when I was messing with GP 2040 CE a lot, because I couldn't even get it to compile on Windows. It was just such a pain in the ass. So I set it up on a live image of Ubuntu. But I haven't messed with that in a while, and it's up on the shelf above me. But I do have a live SSD if I need it. But I also have, I mean, honestly, when I've needed Linux, I just do it on my Steam Deck. I'll dock it and hook it up to my TV, and I have a little wireless keyboard. But I also have, this is for a future project, which I won't say what it is, but I have this laptop here that I got on eBay for $40. And I put Linux Mint on it, so I guess if I ever need Linux, I have it right here. NVIDIA still has issues with their drivers. DirectX 12 on Linux when you have a 20%. AMD doesn't have that problem because of open source drivers. Yeah, I know generally AMD is recommended. Even for Bazite, they prefer AMD. And if you want to use the real Steam OS image, you kind of need an AMD GPU. Yeah, see, I got Linux Mint on here. Actually amazing how well this little computer works for a $40 laptop. Good old ThinkPads, man. Of course it's a ThinkPad. Dude, they're so... I think they're so easy to find used because they're so good that there's so many of... I mean, there's so many that were made that were bought and used and people upgrade. But of course, the old ones still work. They're such good laptops. They last forever that you can find used ones that work great. And that thing's actually pretty beat up. Like, it's pretty scuffed, but it works perfectly fine. I actually tried to install Bazite on it, but it just did not... It didn't want to. So I went with Linux Mint. Bazite a little too modern. Bazite is a little weird, but yeah. All of that video driver being for tire carries, the community can't fix the issues in Linux like they can't AMD. Yeah. True. Another way around that. Yeah, if you watch like the recent Linus video where he made his own, it's not the most recent one. Linus Tech Tips. He made his own Steam machine, and they had to use an AMD GPU, AMD CPU, AMD GPU, which was pretty interesting. So I looked into it. I think that'd be fun. I don't know how much is like a 7900 XTX. This is a high-end one. Yeah, it's a lot. What's the lower? You can do like a 7800 XT? That's still a lot. I have a 3080 Ti. Like, I don't need this. Okay, now the PCBs are ordered correctly. Okay, cool. Good. All right, I'm getting really distracted. Oh yeah, this is the other project. Don't save. Let's just... I'm gonna do it here. I do want them to connect, so... Let's do 135 degrees to here. And then if I want them to be 5. So I was thinking is like the line could be... Dang, this is all different. Like, there was must have been a really big Fusion update because everything looks different. This is the default theme now. It used to be this. This was the default theme. Good night. Oh, yeah, good night, man. Buenas noches. I think, when did my Fusion update, though? I swear I was just using it. And then just 2mm. Probably enough, right? Oh, whoops. Lord, shipping is insane now. Yeah, that's... I know, probably one of the most annoying things with the project right now is if you live in the United States, it's so expensive because of the tariffs. Which makes me think, like, if the tariffs get rolled back at the Supreme Court, right, they're going to have to issue refunds. Do I get a refund? I feel like I don't get a refund. I don't think they care about me. But I think they should give me a refund. I paid tariffs. I paid a lot to get my like initial boards in. You know? I think only corporations will probably get the refunds though. Okay, this looks kind of weird. What if I started adding fillets on everything? We can round out our text a little bit. Right? If I did, what's the most I can do before I go in too far? I think this can work. Oh, yeah, I hope I get a refund, but yeah, I don't think they care about us. Yeah, I think Fusion does not work. FreeCAD's really cool, but I think I'm scared. So I'm gonna commit to this fillet, I decided. It's a lot of edges to click on though. Oh gosh. Yeah. There's a couple applications I also need to use for like work and stuff that I need to be on Windows for. I really should just dual boot. I mean, I don't know. My live SSD actually works great because Linux a lot of times is so lightweight that I don't even need to. Oh, did this not? There it is. I don't even really benefit from having it on my NVMe. How big is this? Will this fit on my... I should probably check. I think Linux users will need a Windows VM solution like Windows. Yeah, and that's... You're really gonna like kneecap your performance if you're running Fusion through a VM. We'll skip the update for now. Hey, look that my printer's name is Bamboo Lad. I thought that was really funny. I think I did good on that joke. Okay, this totally fits. Now that's a decent size, I feel like, right? My 3 printer bed, it'll be like this big. And I'd probably print it in PETG for specifically because this has double-sided tape on the back. And things don't like to stick to PLA, but things will stick to PETG. This will probably be a slow print, so I don't know if we'll be able to do this all in one stream. I could stream next week though. We'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna bring in this side. Come on. You can do it. -1. Alright, I guess you can't do it. Oh, do I need to do new offset? That's what it is. Oh god. That doesn't work. Ah, see, there it is. It looks like these inner edges, these ones did it as 5, but I think they should be 3. Yeah, because there's a 2mm difference. Okay. Print it in PTG on a glass plate. I'm sure it'll do great. I do know this. Yeah, that's actually where I learned. I didn't do it, but I learned that the glue layer that people would do with the glue sticks. I mean, this is kind of OG. People don't really do this stuff anymore. But the glue layer with the glue sticks, people did that for PTG, not to help it stick, but to provide a layer for it to be able to separate, because otherwise it'll fuse to glass. I used to print on glass all the time. Oh, look, these ones are wrong now. It messes with all of them. I think just delete these. And then now, and it should be 7. Ah, see, look at that. Pretty cool, pretty cool. But then the question is, how does the actual part that's gonna be the lens fit on here? Does it just go over the whole thing, maybe? Like I could do a just even do it 1. Me too. This is my cheat. If I do it as a new body and then I go in here and combine, then I don't have to deal with things getting accidentally glued together. This is something though. I could think of what if I made this in white PLA at this top, or white PTG, one of the two. Then the light could come through. Maybe. But I don't know if I want it to be covering it all like this. It would fit on real snug that way. And I probably, because the layer lines would help interlock, I probably wouldn't need to glue it. Use PLA Plus was my first PTG spaghetti print. There. I think I would use... I need more white PETG to be able to do this. Also, if this is going to be PETG, this needs to be way thinner. How thick did I make it? I made it 2. Minus 1.6. Because now this should be 0.4 millimeters. Needs to be really thin if you want to be able to see light. Oh yeah, JLC PCB gives out tons of coupons. I guess that's something to mention. Maybe I could even put in the ordering instructions. And also, for this, I need to make sure oh, does this look weird? I need to probably connect all the letters. If the RGB strip's going to be going on the inside, they all need to be able to connect. Good evening. Well, anyway, I'm just gonna remove this for now. I think maybe this doesn't seem right. Oh. Okay. I'm undoing a bunch of stuff, which is okay. I hate FreeCAD. I think people who use FreeCAD though, like, don't you have to like put things in as like you have to like put in like codes and stuff? Basically, you basically have to like program it sometimes. I haven't really used it, and it kind of scares me personally. Okay, if this hole is just gonna have wires running through it, like, let's just scrap the idea of the LEDs feeding through. It probably only needs to be, let's call it 4 millimeters wide. So yeah, 2, and then that doesn't look like a 90 degree. Is it? Oh, I think that's not. This should be 92. Dang, this is still going to be pretty narrow though. Right? If I want the, whoops. Oh. I need to extend the lines all the way out. Very confusing. I'm switching to Blender CAD. I think it's another choice on Linux. I think. Yeah, what's the other one you said? OpenSCAD? Was that the one where you like basically write in code to do anything? It has its own syntax or anything? It's like basically MATLAB, but as a 3D modeling software. Oh wait, no, to here. And boom. Boom. I mean, it's okay. Exactly, like MATLAB is 3D modeling software. Cool. Programmer CAD, yeah. I don't know. I'm an electrical engineer. I want things to be as simple as it can for anything that isn't electrical engineering. You know that Fusion 360 has Eagle built into it now, right? I can do my electrical drawings in here. Pretty cool. I don't use it, but it's pretty cool. I prefer KiCad. Oh, I'm not even, I should save this project. Stream project 2. You can see there's my original one. Okay. But here's the thought. All these need to be connected. Like wires are actually going to run through. So I'm going to push them so they overlap. 10 seems fine. Would it be weird if these overlapped like this? It's kind of, you know, changing the font now, but no, I don't move the face. Whoa. Maybe you should look at it from the isn't bad, right? FreeCAD customizable. Yeah, I feel like in the same sense, not that I know that much about 3D modeling software, but like KiCad is super old. It's for designing circuit boards, right? Schematics and then your layout. The new version of KiCad is actually really cool, but originally a lot of people at least had a hard time getting into KiCad because it was kind of old and archaic. But then as you installed like different scripts and different like customizations that got into it, because it's all open source, the software became super powerful and super capable. So now KiCad is still one of the top choices for PCB design software. Although another one that's really big is Altium. And that's actually like, I see it on job applications. They want people with Altium experience, but it's hard because Altium is paid. So the only experience you're getting at Altium is in a job. All right, I'm gonna start combining these. That looks good. I will split them later for like adding for being able to print it. But this is just kind of giving me an idea of how it's all going to look. Because now I'm going to add in, I'm going to create a sketch again. I was hoping it would have a center point. Oh, here's the center point. Sure. This one will be easy because I don't have to do any edges on the outside. Where's the center? Down here. You know what? It might be easiest. Oh, sorry. Your controller is very cool, project, but I cannot even wait before I really buy like a Steam Deck things and have a lot of time and money at the moment, but will 3D print? Yeah. Hey, going to sleep now because I have college tomorrow. Hey, well, have fun. And thank you for stopping by. I'm wondering if it makes sense for this part. Because what, I'm gonna start here, I'm gonna have to wrap it all. I'll just put it in the middle. Make it in line with this. There's no real reason to do this. Boop, 4. It's probably not the most efficient way to draw these lines. I'm going to college for electrical and computer engineering. Any recommendations? Recommendations on what? Specifically. I think electrical and computer engineering. I've heard it referred to as just computer engineering, where it's 50% computer science and 50% electrical engineering. That is what my brother-in-law did. Not to share personal information, but I'm pretty sure it worked out quite well for him. Actually, some of my coworkers as well, that was their degree. I was purely electrical. But I think this day and age, it's good to have that combo. going through college. I'm already in college. You know, advice is going to sound obvious, but it's so easy to forget. Do your homework. I found you didn't need to study as hard if you're doing all your homework, you know, when you should be doing it. Get home from class, work on your homework. It's good to like do half your homework and then finish the other half the next day, right? If you have a few days to work on it, do things as soon as you can. Don't hesitate, especially if you want to be able to balance the social life aspect of college, which is a big part of it, right? I mean, some people really lock in and just focus on school, but I don't know. For me, like, I like going out with friends and doing stuff. But if you want to be able to balance all your stuff, like early afternoon, you get home from school. Say if your classes end at like 1, just go home and do some homework. Then you can have dinner. Then you can go out and I don't know. It's so easy to forget that, and it's so easy to procrastinate. And when you procrastinate too, like you have to start cramming your studying, and that's when you're not really learning anything. So just being really consistent about it, I think, is the biggest part, honestly. It's just so easy to forget that aspect. And it's, of course, again, it's the obvious answer, but social life, I still don't do my homework. Probably more of a social life than you realize. Like, you know, playing video games with your friends is still a social life. Thanks for this technique. But yeah, I mean, do your homework. It's actually for work. My boss wanted me and another coworker to start taking Chinese classes. So I enrolled at the local community college. Big jump. And this semester we're in the Chinese class 2, but last semester we're in Chinese class 1. And it was so, like, I'm 30 years old, so it was like so outrageous to me watching how like irresponsible a lot of these freshmen were. I mean, the community college, so maybe it's a different vibe, but like I realized I was totally the same way when I was their age. And they also asked me like, oh, do you have any advice? Like, oh, because I tell them like I already graduated college, I'm here just to learn Chinese. They're like, oh, what's like your advice for college and stuff? I'm like, just go do your homework, bro. And you'll be fine. Like, I don't know. I also saw that my senior year when I was in college because I was missing some GEs. So I had to take these GEs with these kids that just were like, they're like, oh my God, this class is so hard. I'm like, dude, what do you mean? I'm like, there hasn't even been a single test. Like, if you don't have an A, it's because you haven't turned in your homework. Okay, sorry. How useful is MATLAB? We haven't used it a ton yet, and licenses are very expensive, even for personal use. What is the social life you speak of? Use Linux. How do you know what that is? I don't know. There's like Linux communities, man. I think that's still a social life. Go talk on forum boards about Linux. MATLAB. I have not touched. That's a lie. I've barely used MATLAB since graduating, but I just still found it useful. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I don't regret learning it at all. Oh, you're French Canadian. I thought it was so funny. I went to Canada and all the announcements in the airport were in French. I was in Vancouver, right? And not many people in Vancouver speak French. Like, French Canada is the other side of the country, but I guess it's part of the law that everything is in English and French in Canada, even though there was probably more like Chinese people in Vancouver than French Canadians. Anyway. MATLAB though. Oh man, I'm a little like, I really liked MATLAB. I don't know how to explain it. It's so useful, and I think especially as you get into harder math, it's really helpful. I will say, like, there are people at my company that use MATLAB on the regular. It's very useful for digital signal processing. I don't have that job role, but like they do it. So I guess depending on what you want to do is useful. Also, MATLAB is pretty similar to Python, so it's helpful in that sense too. But I mean, anyone will probably tell you this. MATLAB is probably more of a I'm actually going to delete this T. I'll bring it back in a second. MATLAB is probably more so a calculator than it is a programming language. And it's an excellent calculator. I will tell you that. I don't like how this looked. Dude, one of my buddies is one of the bigger Linux creators on YouTube. That's cool. Linux creators. And Linux is being neck piercing or touch grass. Yeah. I feel like that's starting to be an outdated meme though. You know? A Quebecer. I feel like that. I think Linux is starting to become more mainstream in a way. Whoops. I'm curious what the like Steam hardware survey says about Linux users that aren't on the Steam Deck. Like how many people actually use it outside of just the Steam Deck. Okay. This can work. This can work. Already 8:30. It's around 4 to 5% of Steam users. That's pretty huge, though. Like, that's actually massive. He's on my laptop. I saw Linux on almost every computer in my family. How's your family feel about that? I mean, I will say, like, dude, like modern day Ubuntu and stuff, it's super easy to use. Like when I bought that little $40 laptop, I say it came with no OS, and I'm like, oh, that's no problem because I'll just put Linux on it. Like it's so cool just to have a nice free software to use. And also like KDE Plasma is awesome, especially if you're coming from Windows. It's like the same thing. If anything, I think KDE Plasma actually looks better than Windows 11. I'm not a super big fan of GNOME, but I could see it being like user friendly. Maybe. Yeah. Okay, now I'm gonna do all these fillets. I'm gonna leave those for now. Oh, and then these are facing the wrong way. So I think I do 3. let's do anything too weird here. I wanted to do 5. I think this can look okay. My sister likes to use her Linux Mint Cinnamon and install so Windows 10. Yeah, Cinnamon is cool. Super lightweight. Exact number is 3.486. I use my laptop. Yeah. And Mint is great. I installed Mint on that little laptop that is on the desk here. My cat's sitting on it now. Mint is just, it's so lightweight, and then it's got everything Ubuntu has, right? It has the weird little Ubuntu store if you'd prefer to use that instead of a different package manager or to install things over command line. You're like set, and I think you can do flat packs as well, a set of snaps, because Ubuntu wants to use snaps. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's a little outside my realm of knowledge. This is gonna look interesting. I think this is okay. It was not optimized for gaming, so I switched to Nobara that is based on Fedora, has KDE Plasma, better compatibility with Steam and everything. Yeah, that makes sense. It looking like Fedora is where people like for gaming. I just know that's what Bakelite's based on. So, there must be a reason for that. I mean, I guess maybe the creators of Bakelite just liked Fedora. That could also make sense. It's gonna be annoying to have to click all these edges. I think here too. Oops. I'm just gonna start clicking lots. Should be able to see pretty easily the ones I've missed. Daily driving and borrow. I still wouldn't suggest a New Year's. Someone has issues. They usually require a terminal to fix it, which scares people. Fair. I'm not familiar with Nobara. Nobara Linux. Tuned for gaming, streaming, and content creation. Cool. Yeah, this looks pretty new. Have you guys thought about Bakelite? Or I guess is Bakelite more... Looks like Bakelite Nobara is one of the... But no Fedora is what I suggest for gamers. Have to add the repo back in for proprietary codecs. Because patent laws suck. Yeah, Bakelite's quite popular. Yeah, I see... I mean, I installed Bakelite on my mini PC, like I said, that's out in my living room. And that's been awesome. I've actually really enjoyed it. It's been great. Here and here. Whoops, not there. And it's also like my mini PC I got. It's like this. What's the name of the company? Minis Forum. Minis Forum. It's literally this big. It's 80 millimeters by 80 millimeters. It's tiny. And it has an AMD 7840 unit, which is the same CPU as the ROG Ally. So that thing on its own could run Elden Ring through Proton. It's crazy. I mean, I much prefer it for streaming off my desktop, because then I can have my desktop render the games at 4K and then send it to my 4K TV. It's been also awesome. Oh, yeah, I've heard of Proton GE. Okay. So he made his own distro. Okay, that makes sense why people would want to go to it. Yeah, Glorious Egg Roll, I know, is a pretty popular guy with the stuff he does. Wow, this is kind of getting like, I don't know. I think this still looks okay. I'm going to chop it up. Yeah, I guess I don't even need this wall here. Should just delete it. And yeah, this can just get what? It's just oh. Okay, well, it seems to not want to. Right? It just does that. Whatever. Can I fillet it more? Fillet. I say fillet. This is maybe looking weird. Don't use Parasite because I don't like immutable distros. The file systems are locked down by default. That makes sense. No problem with my SDDM on my Nabara. I had a friend in college to solve the needs to solve because now it's this, you know better. I've had that back in high school when I tried to put Linux on my netbook PC. Constant problems. Try installing Arch onto the installation media so many times the first time I installed it, which made it worse. I messed around with Arch a bit. I had Arch installed on my netbook because like Ubuntu was giving me problems, mainly GNOME. And so I did like the absolute minimal install you could of Arch. And I had printed out a whole guide on how to set up Arch. And I had set it up with i3, which is a tiling window manager. So I was using just like tiles for my windows rather than having a whole desktop experience. And that was cool. And it made me feel cool. But it was just kind of unwieldy and annoying to use. And eventually I put Windows back on it. But I felt so cool for a little bit. And it was also, I'm sure i3 is even better now than it used to be, but nothing was really simple or useful. I don't like this gap here. This seems off to me. It's like it should be closer, you know? Oh, I can't delete that. Okay, let me just keep going. I'll circle back to this. Maybe I really shouldn't be adding these huge fillets and everything. You know what? I've already committed. Is this gonna work? Okay, cool. Non-equivalent i3. i3 would be sway. Hyperland. Interesting. I thought the tiling window manager was like really cool. I think it'd be really cool if you had a lot of screens and a lot of applications. Like, if you're like programming pretty hardcore, that could actually be like a cool way to experience it. and like efficient, right? I mean, that's the whole point of this, is to have good workflow. But again, it's been years since I touched that stuff. Oh, maybe we got this. Yeah, bye. Good night. Have fun at school. Okay, I do kind of like how this is turning out, but the gap in the M's looks wrong now. Oh, it's gotta be 7, right? That's weird, but whatever. Huh? Right, the gap looks weird. If you set up shortcuts, it's way faster than Windows. Yeah, that was like the big thought. Having to click on this feels painful now. Yeah, exactly. I did like when I had first set up Ubuntu, just like setting up the shortcuts to move the windows around from the keyboard. I think you can technically do that on Windows now. It was like Windows key shift arrow. Yeah. You guys didn't see it, but I moved Fusion to the other desktop. You could do that on Ubuntu, but you could set it also to quadrants. So you can move it into different quadrants. I thought that was cool. And that was like GNOME 2. Everything was so ahead of the curve, it felt like on Linux. And I don't even like GNOME. What do I do? 3? No, 7. I guess I have to round these now too. Let's see, will it look weird if I give it a 5? Oh no. Nah, it looks fine. Scrolling window manager. I'm a KDE shell. You know, the person that really taught me about Linux when I was in high school too, he also was a KDE shell. Because I told him I was using Ubuntu, and he told me to uninstall GNOME and install KDE, which I know you totally can, but that's kind of a goofy thing to do when you can just install. I mean, I think even back then they had the Kubuntu version. We also just do like Mint or something. I mean, Mint is different, but probably be easier to start with something. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, here's the thought though with this is I don't think this looks right. I feel like the M's are too far. So what if I moved it over a little bit? That's crazy looking. What if it was more like this? I guess it's hard because we can see these edges. just shaded. Maybe it did look okay like this. No, it's a little wide, right? Make a teeny tiny gap in the bottom between the two M's. Oh, like add a gap in here? Maybe that's a better way to do it. How far did I move it? Oh wait. Hopefully this doesn't make it freak out. Yeah, what the hell? I think this maybe makes more sense. And indent at the bottom. So yeah, that's just like this, but then obviously this doesn't have to be exactly how we do it. Indent at the bottom, or should it span? Be a little less than that. Wider and curved. Cut out the second M instead. Oh, because I cut on the first M? You guys say wider. What's the width here? 11. I don't know if I want it as wide. I like the number 7. Curved triangle. Something more like that. And then, of course, add the fillet, right? Although I don't know about adding the fillet on this. Oh, I gotta combine it again. Yeah, that just completely absorbs it all. If you make the T big enough, you add a Raspberry Pi for funsies. I love that idea, but I don't do enough Raspberry Pi projects. I would feel like a poser. I feel like I'm getting there, but I don't know if this is it. I don't know if this is it. B. Just add Uno in instead. Here's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna try this. Let's do 5. Oops. Sure. 10. But then, hear me out. Because it's 10 wide, if I... Dang it, that's not what I wanted. Can I DM you on Discord a picture? Yeah, go for it. I have Discord open over here. Add more B. Half the size of the M cuts. I'll make this 5 millimeters wide. So what, 2.5, right? On each side? Why did it fill that in? I think we're getting somewhere. Hold on. Hold on. This 5 wide. Okay, perfect. I think here. Looks like how? Oh wait, I probably don't need to do that. What does the... That but shorter. What does the B in Tommy B stand for? Tommy Bureaucracy. That's, yeah, it's actually Tommy Bahama. I'm actually Mr. Tommy Bahama. It's nice to meet you guys. There's no other Tommy Bahama. I'm the real Tommy Bahama. Why is it? There it is. Okay, you said shorter. Should be able to just move it. Why does it destroy my fillets down there? Lame. Anyway, okay, we'll have to just use our imagination that those are still filleted. Look, it ruins my fillet down there as soon as I move it. This is Fusion being quirky. It's just a fun, quirky guy. I think if it's shorter, it does still totally work. I was thinking of actually even taller. But then maybe it looks like the sign is weak. It's not strong enough. Let's look at this. And then I have to do this again because whatever reason. It's a thing. Maybe it's a little too short. Bro, that's crazy. Maybe I want to highlight this one too. I can do this. I want to move it over. I think I want to move it over just a little bit. I feel like I want the left edge actually to... Yeah, you know, I think it's... Yeah. Yeah. You know? This is something. This feels better. Not sure if I'm completely sold, but I'm going to move on for now and come back to it with fresh eyes. For now, though, I do notice that I think the Y has lost some definition. Can I delete that? I feel like I want to... I gotta delete the fillet. I said 3. And then no curve at the top. Okay, I'm getting other suggestions. I just feel like that does now look better for the Y. I also want to add it a little bit on this side too. Oh. Oh. Okay, anyway. Suggestion from the field. to get a little wild here. I feel like it's backwards. I feel like I don't want it facing the other way. I think I'm really stuck on this. And I think actually to fix the Y, I should fix it over here. Yeah. Nah, it should be deeper. Nah, even deeper. Alright, well, we can come back to it. For now, though, I can start actually thinking about how we're going to 3D print this first part, right? Because this part, it's already 9. I don't know if I want to run my 3D printer right now because of my neighbors. Maybe we wrap things up? Seems the questions have slowed here, which is perfectly fine. But we know that this will fit. I'd actually probably want to add some sort of interlocking thing so I can put all the pieces together. This is just a good thing to look at. I'll probably print it in PETG, do the gray. I like doing 3 wall loops. And I like doing, I don't need 225. Prefer gyroid. It's usually the most that I change. I'll only take an hour and a half. There's barely any infill anyway. Oh, I should keep it grid because there's only 2 layers of infill. Yeah. Okay, okay. Well, you know, it seems some of the questions have stopped coming in, which is... Oh, this is the picture. Oh, yeah, see... Rogue Ren, they sent me exactly what I was doing. This was a suggestion from my fiance. She said to do this one. Can I move this? Make this bigger? Which I almost do like, but I'm not sold on. And you had it going like, oops. Maybe if I grab these edges and move. You had it like halfway up. Oh no. I'm not being lazy. Let's put you back. I also realized that this is missing its fillet. I think that can work. And you know what would actually help it too is... Oh dang, does this... I can't delete this one. I was gonna say if I can make that a little bit sharper too. Oh, sorry. Do you plan on using addressable LED strips? Are you still taking questions? Yeah, of course. I'll take questions on anything. I have some. I don't want to be too bothersome. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to wrap up here soon, but dude, shoot your questions. I'll answer. But yeah, the plan was to use addressable RGB strips, and I was probably going to use just, these are little Raspberry Pi Picos. Something really simple and like fast LED. I was probably just going to do like a rainbow effect. Maybe we'll add a button to switch between effects. But ideally could be like a backdrop in the back for, right? That's my backdrop. That's kind of the idea of this stream. Work on the backdrop, but of course answer any questions. So here. I looked around. If we make our own touchpads, we need a calibration unit. No, you do not. The calibration unit, what it does is it creates a header file, and I just import that raw, straight up header file into the project. All the touchpads are the same, as long as you make it with my design. Right? Don't change anything on it, like not even the ground plane. They're very sensitive devices. They have the one way they like to work, and that's it. I can go a little sharper than that. Yeah, I think that looks a little better. This is progress. So yeah, no need to buy anything extra outside of the list. I just had to get the calibration unit because they're joysticks, or not joysticks, but they're what's them called that I designed? Trackpads. And I'm tired. Why am I not on Windows Select? They changed the default behavior of stuff on here. And I find it kind of odd. Oops. Oh, nice. Have you considered do project part kits where you could source decent quantities and sell them as kits? I haven't. I talked about this a little bit before. I cannot sell kits for this project. But I did license it in a way that if anyone wants to, they totally could. If they, you know, it seems like there is demand for people who would want to buy it. So, because a lot of people are just getting the project now because of the Linus video, I would expect... Sorry, my cat just jumped on my computer and now he's messing with my light. I would expect maybe in a couple months, you might see kits pop up with people being willing to sell. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how things progress. Because, yeah, that would make things cheaper, a lot more convenient for a lot of people. Because when you do things, you order at quantities, it lowers the cost hugely. Especially when it comes to like electronic components. So, yeah, it's all still, I don't know, being figured out, I guess. Okay, hold on a second. Come on. Come on, Chris. Hey. Okay. My light is plugged in to the top USB ports on the bottom of my computer. And he was on the tower and he was messing with it. He's a good boy though. Look, he's so chill. You see him lick my arm. When I go to bed, I want to keep you. No, it's fine. If you have any more questions, let me know. I'll hang out. Like I said, I was just working on this sort of sign thing. I'm thinking this is okay. That definitely says Tommy B. And then I want to string the inside with RGB LEDs. Right, Alice? My cats are looking at me because I feed them around this time. So they're both just in here. I have such wonderful cats. They don't like hiss and scratch at us ever. She especially, the orange girl, she is very, very sweet. She would never scratch a person on purpose. She has scratched me because I've been holding her and she gets scared. She scratched me pretty bad, but anyway. I always come to the next stream and pest you there. No, I mean, if you have questions, let me know. But yeah, I think maybe I will stream again maybe next week, similar time. If I want to keep working on this maybe is starting to feel like not a one stream kind of project. I was originally like, I had this idea of like doing live streams and doing a whole project through the course of a live stream, which I did do here in the first live stream. But I will say towards the end of that stream, I got a little delirious because this was, maybe it took me like 5 hours. And it was just, it's a little like, it holds a little laser pointer diode. And it's got a switch and stuff, and then I put it together and it worked. And then I played with the cats, and that was it. When I get out of college, I want a cuddly cat. Yeah. I talk about this to my fiance. I swear cats are very 50% nurture, 50% nature. I think you can raise a cat to be a nice cat, but if they're like born a bit chaotic, then they're going to be a bit chaotic. They can definitely get nicer on the way you like treat and train them. But I think we lucked out and then we wound up with two pretty nice cats. And then we didn't have to do too much. They're both very comfortable with being held, which is great. Her less so by strangers. She doesn't like being held by strangers. But you can probably just... anyone could just walk into my house probably and pick him up. And he'd just let him. And he'd enjoy it. He'd start purring. He just purrs all the time. His only problem, though, as a cat, is he's very grabby. He'll use his claws. He doesn't mean to scratch, but he'll grab things with his claws. It's like, I bet you I pick him right now, I can make him do it. So he's telling me to calm down by licking at me, but he grabs a little bit with his claws. And it's fine as long as you don't yank your hand away. If you yank your hand away, that's how you get scratched. It's like, it was like a friend's girlfriend was over and she was like scared to pet him and she was putting her hand near him and pulling it away. And he grabbed her hand, she pulled her hand away and got a pretty bad scratch. I felt really bad, but also don't pull your hand away. Then they think you're trying to play with them too. I feel like maybe this. What if it was like there? I don't know if I want to modify this part or not. See over here? She's wagging her tails because she's annoyed because she knows it's almost time. The new Steam Deck. Do you plan on using 13 or 16? 13! 16 is way too big. 13's already very big. I'd love to use the 12 though, but I don't have my hands on one, and I don't think they'll be particularly powerful. These seem like more like school computers, you know? And it's 12.2. Yeah, i5's the fastest. So I will say the 13-inch I got is, I think, the highest end one. Framework did send it to me for this project, which, what's happening? My Chrome is, oh, there it is. They did send it to me, which also means I should probably get to the project because I haven't worked on it in a while. But I think they sent me this one. That's a lot of money. I mean, this is for the full laptop, of course. They just sent me the motherboard. But like, that's a ball-in board. Like, I think that's much more powerful than the Steam Deck. I think the only i9 handheld, I think Aya Neo made one. Oh, the 1X player. $1,500. And this is like, whoa, that's actually really weird. It's a laptop. You can take the keyboard off and there's a controller underneath it. That's crazy. Oh, you know what? I should buy... Oh, crap. I haven't put together the Steam Deck yet. I only have the Mobo. I should buy... Oh, God. Okay, that's $100 for an 8 gig stick. Oh my God, dude. Oh, no. I forgot. I don't have DDR5. Wait, is my last one DDR? Can I just steal my RAM out of the old one? Hold on. I'm going to look at my Amazon orders. Did I buy it on Amazon? I don't remember. Yeah, because my last one is based on... dude, this is brutal. I think my old one was DDR4. I don't think I could even steal the RAM out of it. Okay, but what about... Whatever, I didn't mean to click. If I were just to buy RAM... Okay. That hurts still. I mean, 16 gigs is fine for what I want. But $160 for 16 gigs laptop RAM is a little steep. What about PC part picker? Start my build. I want memory. I want DDR5. And can I put SODIMM? Yeah. I don't know which one is the correct. Oh, it literally says. Sort by price. Thanks, dude. 8 gig DDR5 for now? Yeah, I mean, maybe. Yeah, because it's like the same. I guess let me just make sure. Yeah, it should be the same. Okay, I mean, that's not going to kill me. If I just got, well, 8 gig now, upgrade one to 64 when opening Amazon money. Depends. So for the video, when I also haven't finished it, but when I do finish it for the video, am I going to post benchmarks? Because single channel RAM will hamper results for single channel RAM will hamper results for gaming because AMD CPUs love dual channel, and I guess GPUs, the iGPU. It's 160. And I also missed that question a minute ago. Do you still plan on using the Firmware battery and touchscreen through USB? Yes, I'm gonna try to get the screen working through the embedded display port though, to not have to use like a USB card. I had demonstrated in my first video that I did actually get it to work with that screen I had, but that I didn't even wind up using it. Because the issue is the screen I have now I think is 1440p, or no, it's some weird resolution, and I don't know if the EDP to HDMI card can support it. Maybe it can. But yeah, same Firmware battery. That's like a long time project I've thought about, and there's actually a guy, CNC Dan on YouTube, on his handheld project. He had a pretty novel solution for, which by the way, you should check this out if you haven't seen it. It's really cool. This one of these videos, this one, you can see I've seen it. It says I'm in the beginning, but I've watched this one a bunch of times because he makes his own power solution, right? There's like a USB hub, and then he has like He programs an Arduino to act as it's actually as a UPS. So it shows up in the operating system as a battery. So it's an HID power device, which is a very interesting way of doing it, but there's no better way to do it if you want to do it over USB. So he can keep track of his battery voltage and charging and all of those sort of metrics over USB. So he basically has his own battery that he can install in anything. So I did ask him, like, do you plan on selling that board you made for the power? Because, you know, it doesn't have a BMS, but if you do the batteries and a BMS and his board, you can hook it up to any device and it'll think that it has a battery. And I thought that was super cool and super useful, because that gives you a lot of freedom and gives him a lot of freedom, because I see he used 4 18650 batteries rather than those huge laptop LiPo battery packs, because also his handheld was a mini PC, and I thought that was super cool. So it's like a long time project I've thought of doing, is if I could make a board like he did. It's just scary, right? Messing with battery stuff like that is scary, but also if you can find a way to integrate a BMS and stuff. And I did actually find something that's called Open UPS and can plug in to like USB, so it'll show up on the operating system as a battery. The issue is, like, that's $120. And that's just for this. It's not even for the battery. You still have to do the battery, but you can do a programmable output, all these things, have it show up. Yeah, OS to FX devices battery. Like, that's the huge part. I had some issues working on an old project making Windows recognize a battery in a device that doesn't natively support a battery. Yeah, see, that's the problem, and that's why they go this route, because now Windows doesn't think it's necessarily a battery, but it thinks it's a UPS. So it shows up in Windows still as a battery and can track how much battery it has. I saw gaming PCs with 30 GB Costco for. Dude, honestly, you could just buy the PC and then, like, sell the RAM. You could start selling off the parts. You also need a bunch of safety to work with batteries. Yeah. Batteries are a little scary. But if you do them right, I mean, you know, you can do it. This company, Minibox, actually makes a lot of cool things. So they make, like, these tiny little ones. Where is it? This connects directly to Raspberry Pi. So these are pretty rad if you had a Raspberry Pi, and it actually is a UPS, but you could still just power it from the batteries. Super cool. Anyway, little sidetracked. But yeah, I think I have to go with the framework battery. Which, yeah, where is that? Framework laptop. I guess just under parts, probably. There's a few things. I was thinking about stripping the battery out of the old one. But then that means it won't work anymore. Not like I use it much, because I actually have my Steam Deck and it's a little more convenient. But I don't know. So yeah, this is gonna start to add up in price. Gotta buy a battery. I need a Wi-Fi card too. Does it matter which one? Oh, the Cooler Master main board case. I'll need speakers again. I was thinking about a different solution for speakers, but speakers. Oh, I can just get a refurbished one, save $4. Sure. But you also need the antennas, not that one. Where is it? Wait, what? Mystery box mainboard? Kind of laptop building? Oh, and I'm thinking for a new version of my Steam Deck. Oh, this is kind of weird. Why would they do this? Okay, well, anyway. Yeah, I need to get parts again. Dang, maybe I will just strip as many parts as I can from the old one. So it's like the Wi-Fi card, the Wi-Fi antenna, the battery, and the hard drive. I'll just have to buy RAM. Okay, that's more reasonable. That's a bummer though. But I also don't want to go broke making these projects. I don't really make much money from the videos at all, which is fine. It's not really why I'm doing it. There is something. Oh, I have to find it. What, front panel connector? Yeah. Oh, it said desktop. Ah. Someone had made a thing for the front panel. Anyway, it's not that important. Input connector, shim. Yeah, it's this little board. He started... Well, cool. You guys got really advanced with it. Anyway, I'm getting really sidetracked. Upon on making a dongle, I support more using 2 controllers with the new project like the Switch does. I don't. You want 1 dongle for 2 controllers. The thing about doing that is now you have to interweave all these commands. So you're going to effectively have your polling rate. It's already not particularly fast. Well, it's not slow, but it's like, you know, it's 333 hertz for one and 250 hertz for the other, which you would never notice. I mean, this is really fast, right? That's once every 4 milliseconds. So if you wanted to do 2 controllers, then you're looking at 2 controllers on 1 dongle, then you're looking at cutting that in half. So it's like 125 milliseconds. That's 1 every 8, or 125 hertz. 1 every 8 milliseconds, it sends a new data packet. That's per controller. So you run into a similar issue if you use like Logitech's unifying dongle. If you connect a bunch of devices to it, you're effectively cutting your effective polling rate. It's not like the technical polling rate that the dongle is actually doing, but like the real polling rate that's happening, your data is sending less fast because there's only 1 antenna, so everything, it needs to take turns what's being read at a time. So it's certainly possible, right? Definitely doable. And the dongle is actually what controls the timings in the controllers. So you can modify the dongle firmware to do this, right? And then NRF52840 would support acting as 2 separate controllers at once, or you can have it be multiple HID devices. It actually already is in my project, but you can have it be multiple HID controllers. That's not a problem. I don't plan on doing it, but I mean, someone could. I mean, honestly, AI so good, you could probably just grab the code and then ask Claude if it can do it, and then see if it compiles. Probably won't compile, but you could try. This is what I was looking for. This mainboard power shim. This is helpful because it helps you connect a battery, and you get a USB port. So I was thinking I could hook up for my new project, have the touch screen connect to this USB port that's on the front input shim, so you have all 4 USB ports. Although one would be taken by the dongle of the controller, which is fine because I would like the dongle to even be removable. How much power the screen on the controllers draw? No. I'll tell you the battery life for the controller is like about 6 hours. Definitely can be improved by even lowering the brightness of the screen. There's a lot that needs to be done with the screen. But the battery life, I don't think is too big of a concern right now, but it can be improved most definitely. I actually really like the idea someone had on the Discord of a charging dock. And you could totally make it that the dongle goes in the charging dock too. So when you're done, you can just stick it on and it charges instead of having to deal with plugging it in and then plugging the other one in to it. Kimmy K2.5 is proving to be very competitive with being much cheaper than Claude. Interesting. I've only messed with Claude. I have this open here. It prompted me and asked me to like generate instructions. So I like clicked a thing and it did this for me. And it created this whole thing. So it like it asked me questions and stuff. So I'm probably gonna do this at some point. I did use a bit of Claude when I was making this anyway because I found it really helpful at, for one, adding comments that I didn't add, and 2, doing a lot of the logging, like these commands I didn't write. I had it do that. I just thought it was just convenient, and then so I had really robust debugging because of it. It was super convenient, and this was with Claude. But I definitely want to see like what all this was about. This was an update to it, updating Copilot instructions for code-based productivity. I just like clicked the thing and it did this. It was kind of fun. Still a lot of work to do on the dongle side, a lot of work to do on the screen. I'm really hoping when I know there's a lot of people are building controllers right now that someone who's building a controller is really good at firmware. I can help because I'm amazed I got it this far. Firmware development is not necessarily my strong suit. I'd say I'm pretty good, but for like production level stuff, you know, I don't work as a firmware engineer. I probably could for a simpler project. It's very complex, the controller, and it really is because it's split. It'd be so much easier if it was just one controller, which I do want to do as a future project as well. Make a version of it that's just one PCB. It'd be cheaper. But I think the split is obviously a big driver for it. Chips from NL. What's NL? Netherlands? Yeah, on a break. I maybe could just order the PCBs myself then. Dongle hider? Oh, interesting. Cool. Honestly, I'm waiting to make the controller because it seems like there's a lot of cool changes planned in the nearest future. Yeah. Definitely, as time goes on, you know, it's just gonna get more and more advanced. I haven't pushed an update in a little bit, but I definitely gonna sit down one of these days and work on. My next thing is the gyroscope. The thing is, I have to scale it, like the numbers being read from the gyroscope. I don't know how much to scale it, so I'm gonna grab probably my Steam Deck. I should look at my Steam Deck and see what like the range of numbers it's outputting on like the SDL gamepad tester. See if I can find it. SDL. Test controller. So here, I can even demonstrate right now. Will you stream the work on the controller? Oh, I guess I could. I don't know if that's that exciting. Rating firmware. That's not what I want. Oh, there it is. So you can see my gyro numbers are in the bottom left here. And I can do this gyro calibration. And this works. But when I do the gyro calibration in Steam input, it never completes. And I don't know if that's an issue with Steam input, because I did look it up and it supposedly is. But here, you can see, well, this, if I twist it, it's twisting there as well. And I was going off of like, if I flip mine upside down, that one goes fully upside down. So those were that's how I was like scaling it. I was trying to match this SDL tester thing. But it does seem there's a little bit of drift. And I don't know if that's because I'm doing something wrong. Will you start to run the limit of how much data you can send where you have to decrease the polling rate? Not, I don't think so yet. I'm using something called ESB, or electroshock burst. I don't know. It's the proprietary 2.4 gigahertz max payload. 252 bytes. So as long as I can fit all my data in 252 bytes, I'm not concerned. The actual like air travel and like being read is almost instantaneous. It's just the balancing act of when things are sending, because they send at the same time, they collide, and then the data gets all corrupted, and then the dongle doesn't know what to read. So it's a timing thing. It's not really how much data is in there, because the actual size of these packets can be quite large and go quite fast. So yeah, I'm not concerned about adding more into the data packet. Here, I guess let me open this again. Hello? Ah. Yeah, so it already does have gyro. Like, gyro does work. I just don't think it's working right, and that's what I want to work on. Okay. Oh, that's what it was. Oh yeah, it made this Copilot instructions file. Yeah, code controller ID, payload. So my payload's only 32 bytes right now. That's kind of what I was going to look at. Is here. This is my my whole payload. Flags. This is just information I'm keeping track of. Controller ID. I don't have mouse buttons implemented yet, but one of those things. Analog triggers, your X and Y, your trackpad. These are 16-bit. Is the thing that actually takes up quite a bit of space. And then all of the IMU data is 16-bit. So there's Excel in each and gyro in each. That's where I think I'm doing something wrong. I think maybe I'm scaling the gyro wrong, because I feel like I have drift. And my IMU I know is more accurate than that. So I'm doing something wrong. And it's mostly on the dongle side, where it's like processing the data. Maybe my timing is wrong, because I know that you need a timer with like exact. It just gets really confusing. Because where is my IMU? Right, I have these scale, but I don't know. These are just values that it recommended, because it this IMU is built into the Xiao board. I love seeing actually developers or coders and seeing a huge amount of files and folders. Yeah, there's a lot in here, man. The controller, so here, the controller is way more complicated than the dongle. Should be test firmware. Yeah, so there's way less in here. And actually this one, this DualSense one, I'm not using anymore. It's empty actually. I deleted it. But then if you use Claude, it likes to bring back files that are just empty. But here's like the S input, which a lot of this is from the Titanium Titan on Discord. I'm going to make a YouTube short, I think, about S input, because I think it's really cool. And I need to remember to shout him out, because he's the one who gave me some example code for it to work. Mainly, for one, this is helpful, how you have to pack your data. And then in my composite, sorry, I guess it's in here, my HID report. It's quite interesting. Anyway. Oh, that'll work. Still to do. Lots of work, but it's cool. I think the issue is, like, you know, I have a full-time job. I love if, you know, creating videos and stuff ever becomes my full-time job. I have a lot more time to work on this. You'd see a lot more progress, but for now I have to balance everything. You know, also like like last weekend I didn't have time really to work on anything. Doing other stuff the weekend before as well. We had a lot of people here. How does Bluetooth compare to dongle? Bluetooth by default for a controller will only ever be 250 hertz anyway. I think the new Bluetooth standard is supposed to change that, but for now most controllers are 250 hertz at the maximum. Some are 125. But I haven't even started to cross that bridge of like how to make the controller work with Bluetooth. I know the Joy-Cons do, but there's two devices. How do I make it connect to one device and make that device think it's one device? My thought was I send data from one to the other, and then one acts as like the master that sends all the data to the, you know, computer, phone, switch, whatever you're connected to on Bluetooth. But I don't know. Because then one has to listen for the other and then also send. So it's constantly changing the radio behavior, which it should be able to do fast enough, as far as I understand, for the NRF chips. Like they should be able to handle that. So maybe the timing would be easier because you're not trying to interlace things. Instead, it just waits until it gets data from one and then says, oh, I'm ready, and sends it out. Right? That's how true wireless earbuds do things. Yeah, but they're a little more sophisticated because they don't have a master. I thought they didn't for TWS. I thought that they do have a master and slave, but I think if you turn one off, and it senses that the other one's off, it becomes the master. So you can have either earbud. How do you have the pairing set up? Or is it hard coded? It is hard coded. Because I can open it again. That was the thing for the Linus video. They wanted 2-player. They reached out to me beforehand to ask. And I'm like, I've never tried. So here, you can see I can change the player ID. This is a define, right? It sets it pre-compile. So it just compiles with different addresses. That's how I did it. It's hard-coded. So I, compiled firmware with the player ID 2, and I compiled firmware player ID 1, and I flashed his controller that we made for the video with player ID 1 firmware. And then I flashed mine, I think this one actually. I don't remember which one I used. I have a bunch of these. Not to brag, but I've made them 5 times now. And then one, with the player ID 2 firmware. And it worked. I really had no idea. I had literally only done it the day before I flew out to go film the video. And when I plugged them both into the computer, it detected them both, but Steam Input didn't detect the second one. I'm like, this is not going to work. But then when I showed up, it just worked on the video. That was pretty lucky. But anyway, rambling. I need to set up some sort of pairing routine, and most likely it would just be that the dongle, like there's probably a hard-coded initial address, right? But then the dongle, each dongle has its own MAC address, like internal, like it burned into it from the factory. I'm thinking either that or just randomly generate a number, have it send that to the controller, and that becomes the new address. And the dongle changes itself too once they do a little bit of handshaking. But using cheap AliExpress Wi-Fi chips across all controllers. I mean, that's kind of what it is already. The NRF 52840 is a cheap Wi-Fi chip. I'm using it in like the Seed Studio board, but it's basically what's already going on already. I think. So you want to have 2 seconds controllers, you would have to change the Wi-Fi frequency. No, you don't need to change the Wi-Fi frequency. They technically will interfere with each other, but it's more about the address. Because the first thing that's part of the header of the package, the payload, is the address it's sending to. If it doesn't recognize the address, it ignores it. They technically would interfere with each other, like they were super close, but it shouldn't really affect it. One thing I do want to change eventually when I do make a new version of hardware is the little chip antenna inside these shout boards is pretty small, so the range is limited. I'd like to do a bigger antenna. But yeah, I mean, if you were coding your own firmware and you wanted 2 controllers and you had issues with them interfering, you could change the Wi-Fi. It should be in here actually. I set it to channel 50. That was one that Claude recommended. I asked it. I said, what Wi-Fi channel is a good one to use for a controller? And it said 50. If 50 in this function, this is in between, like it says, it sits in between Wi-Fi channels 8 and 9. This set channel is not actually Wi-Fi channel 50. It's confusing. Any change on the sleep mode? Yeah, there's no proper sleep mode because we need the power switch. There is, I don't know if you saw my most recent video, but if you do, like, right, you see my my screen is on, so like my controller's on. If you press start and the bumper, it does go into sleep. Like, this was my initial solution for putting it to sleep, right? It's in sleep, the power switch is on, because I didn't want to have a physical power switch at all, right? That's not how wireless controllers work. The issue is that because I can't control the power to the Hall effect stick, it's drawing power, and it draws like a couple milliamps. All I know is when I did the math that this fully charged, if you put it in sleep mode, it'll run out of battery in 3 days, which is not ideal. So that's why I went with the power switch option. So to fix that, it's gonna have to be a hardware revision. Oh, you haven't really missed much. I've just been talking about the controller project. I guess this is kind of the point I got on here. I'm okay with this, and then yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap this up here soon. To see if I was wondering if the joystick problem has been changed. No, unfortunately. And I think one thing that I maybe didn't make clear as well is this is a problem unique to me. Controllers out there with Hall effect joysticks are designed in a way where they turn off power to the joysticks before they go into sleep mode. I just don't physically have the number of GPIO to do that. Although people were suggesting actually using like I2C GPIO expanders, and that could work. That's adding more on my I2C bus, which I don't really like because the trackpad, the screen, and the haptic driver are all on that I2C bus. So adding a fourth thing is a lot. But, I mean, it should be okay. I2C, I shouldn't run into too many problems. I2C is quite fast. I just worry about the trackpad. The trackpad's running synchronously. It's always sending data. I would prefer it to run asynchronously, but then you run into problems where if you hold your finger still on the trackpad, it doesn't think you are. it doesn't send the interrupt anymore if your finger is perfectly still, because it doesn't say it has any more new data. So running synchronously was the best way. Would a hardware revision be able to reuse most of the current version? Yeah. I mean, if I go the route of, so there's two ways I could do a hardware revision. I could be more incremental and go the route where I add a GPIO like I2C expander and get everything set up that way. That'll give me more GPIO and I can control more things. I could probably add just like another hashtag define statement at the top of the firmware, or it's like hardware version 1 or 2. But hardware revision 1 is always going to have the sleep mode problem. I mean, that's why you got the physical switch. I don't think it's, in my mind, it's not too big of a deal breaker. I mean, this is already a homemade DIY controller. I mean, it feels great and it works great, right? But yeah, so ideally another hardware revision, you could just theoretically transfer things over if you wanted to resolder everything, and then include a GPIO expander. Or the other way I do a hardware revision is more like final, where I actually get like the NRF52840 chip, put it on the PCB itself. If I'm going that route though, then you're looking at like probably fully pre-assembled PCBs to order rather than it being as DIY. I mean, it would still be pretty DIY because you would get it in a case, probably 3D print stuff, probably have to solder a couple wires. But like at that point though, if I'm putting the NRF52840 on the board, like raw chip, should be a more like complete solution. That's like kind of end game though, I feel like. I don't know. So I do use this controller. I've been playing Mega Bonk with it. I don't know if you guys play Mega Bonk, but I love Mega Bonk. But on controller, you can't B-hop around like those cool people do. on YouTube. I've been watching YouTube Megapunk people. But you can't b-hop. It's just not possible on a controller. But there are bindings people made for this Steam Deck that using the back paddle button, it's like a b-hopping macro. So it'll b-hop if you like press it. And I imported that onto this, and I've been using this with the b-hop macros, and that's been cool. So I can go straight from my Steam Deck. Oh, can I have some? I'm just kind of adding. Okay. Mega Bonk by totally not Danny Dev. I know it's Danny. Like, I don't know. I don't know his whole story, but obviously he got a little overwhelmed with everything going on, and he kind of fell off the face of the earth. I think that's okay. I don't think he really wanted to be a celebrity in the way he was. And so, but I think he still wanted to make content. I think that's where this all came from. It'll all come out eventually. Because, yeah, it's Danny Dev, so... Right? That's Danny Dev spelled backwards. D-A-N-I-T-E-V. It's... So, cool. But the dude also made enough money to probably retire on this game, so you may never hear from him as Danny. Or whatever. He's still putting out updates for this game. Oh, his viewers went kind of psycho over Carlson. Apparently 801.11n. Yeah, Wi-Fi is fast. And so like the data I'm sending is this. Right, NR52840. It's over Wi-Fi, but I'm using Nordic's proprietary protocol called ESB, Electroshock Burst, and it's very simple. So it's even more simple than what your typical Wi-Fi data packet looks like. So that's one of the reasons that I don't have to worry too much about all the different like limitations and how much data I can send. You really just have your packet header and then your payload. That's it. And then an end, or whatever. And then it does send an acknowledge as well. You can turn off acknowledge if you don't care and you just want raw speed. That's where like those cheap Chinese mice that say they're doing 8K wireless polling and have it NR52840, they just don't have an acknowledge. They turn off the acknowledge so they can send data 8,000 times a second. Yeah, I also don't blame Danny for vanishing like he did. I do hope that it is on my wish list. I'm not one of his fans that went psycho for this game, but it does look really fun. This is the exact kind of game I like. It's like a shooter, speedrunning game. Right? I like the Doom games, especially the first one. I haven't played the newest one, but the second one I didn't like as much because you were slower, but the first one you could like fly around. And you know, Halo, aimless, whatever. But I like these like kind of speedrunning shooty games. Why not disable ACK for extra players? Well, ACK, right now I'm using it. I'm attaching a payload to the acknowledge that tells the controller how long to wait before sending the next message. That's how I'm handling my timing, is actually through the acknowledge. The dongle is in charge of timing. I mean, the controller will eventually default. If it doesn't get a number, it'll send it every 8 milliseconds as like a fallback. But it's just how the timing is being controlled is through the ACK. Next revision, sending packets over the network. Yeah, probably not gonna do that. I don't know if disabling ACK for extra players would really do anything, because you still run into the problem. Actually, one of the problems I was running into, if you crank it up too high, is that because the data is coming in so fast, it struggles to even execute through its main script. So it gets like halfway through, but then the next data comes in, and because radio data is an interrupt, it has to drop what it's doing and go to that. So then the controller starts stuttering because the main function keeps like freezing, and then you get stale data because it's only processed half of it, like the bottom half or the top half. It gets weird. Use the monitor to set the game. Oh, cool. Yeah, I mean that's the huge benefit of this is the Steam input. That was like the big thing I'd push for from my original video, because my original video I only had Steam input for a generic controller. I didn't have the trackpads or the buttons on the back. So getting all that working, I think, was the biggest milestone I covered and did a lot. And that's what makes this controller, I think, actually attractive to build for other people now. Again, still so much I can do, but like those were the big hurdles that I literally spent like the last 6 months getting working. And then the S input revelation towards the end too was pretty rad. I'd love to get it to not show up as a PS4 controller, but whatever. It's a PS4 controller with extra bindings, right? It's very funny. Yeah, plug in my dongle. Oh, this is different. Ping. Huh. But yeah, this is PS4. But you see here, these are my my extra buttons. They just don't have a glyph. The macro buttons is like a thing as part of S input. I don't fully understand everything. So I do input aggregation across controllers. Input aggregation across controllers, and once all inputs are collected, do a fixed 250 hertz batch burst. Part of what I'm running into right now that's been causing me some headache is the controllers themselves seem to run at an inconsistent time. I mean, it's still... My cats are battling. Can you calm down, bro? I have to feed them soon. But the actual like data rate is inconsistent. The amount of time it takes from the process, I think it has something to do with the trackpad. And maybe the screen. I don't know. Something's causing it to hitch. So sometimes the timing's inconsistent. So the dongle can't always expect data when it thinks it is supposed to. So it's hard to organize things like that. I think once I've kind of figured out what's causing it to hitch a little bit, and when I say hitch, it's happening for like 1 or 2 millisecond hitches. Like these, it's just because the timing's inconsistent. These are not things you can feel when you're playing, but they're things that are limiting me from cranking up the polling rate higher, because in an ideal world, I would only wait half a millisecond between sending the left and right, because it should be able to process that fast. Then I could have proper 1000 hertz controller, which is like the gold standard right now. I mean, there's an 8K controller, but we don't talk about that one. So if you want to get 4 controllers data within, because you say 240 hertz, that's about 4 milliseconds. So you want to get data from 4 controllers, right? Because this is technically 2. Within 4 milliseconds is doable on paper, but again, I'm having that hitching that's going to make that timing inconsistent. And that's where I've settled on this, like, I think it's 3 milliseconds and 4 milliseconds are the 2 timings I'm using. So yeah, yeah, again, on paper, like, I think that's all doable, but I need to figure out what's going on to dig into it. That being said, too, even if you just cut it in half and did 125 hertz, 2 controllers on 1 dongle, I doubt you would notice. Think there could be a way to make a wire once you figure out how to get the halves to talk or the pogo pins? Yeah, definitely. And ideally, that USB port wouldn't be on the bottom. It's on the bottom. You just get random garbled data that gets received by the dongle. Not anymore. I definitely did. Because ESB has that header. Like there's of course over the 2.4 range, there's tons of different data packets and random bits of garbled information always in every square inch of your home. But ESB is very good at only accepting an ESB packet. And it's very fast. 8 if it's 4-player. Yeah, 8 milliseconds. Right. Multiple controllers work on multiple dongles, and it's hard coded, like player 1, player 2. And that's it. As soon as I set up like a pairing routine, then as many controllers and as many dongles, it won't matter. They were specifically asking about multiple controllers on one dongle. Which is definitely possible. It's just not something I've looked into. Like, we're gonna be building one, but we wouldn't be able to use both of them. You would if. So here, let me go to my GitHub. I did my pre-release. I put it as a pre-release on GitHub, and I probably will every time So there's player 1 and player 2 firmware. So you would be able, if one of you did. Oh yeah, 8 controllers to 4 people playing. Yeah. And you have to really slow down your polling rate. So for you guys, you would probably like one person do the player 1 firmware, one person do the player 2. Well, the player 2 firmware is for the dongle and the controller because the addresses are hard coded right now. But ideally, by the time you build one, I have a pairing routine set, and you can just do that. We'll see. Build 2 sets of controllers. Yeah, so it's all about just setting up a pairing routine so that each dongle is unique to its controllers. And that's definitely doable to set up. I just haven't gotten to it. There's a couple things, like I want to get the gyro working better. And actually one thing that's not set up yet. It'd be really easy to set up because I already have the framework in place, but Rumble, like game Rumble, doesn't really work. The acknowledge packet, the packet coming from the dongle back to the controller, I did add as place to add like the vibration for left and right. So it'll know that it's supposed to, and then I just have to send the command to the vibration motor. I just, honestly, maybe that should be the next thing I do because that'll take me probably like 30 minutes at the most. Forgot I've got X input. Does this work on Xbox? No. I actually kind of abandoned the X input route because of S input. That's how we're getting it to show up as a PS4 controller with the extra buttons, is through S input. I still would like, as like a Tommy B thing in the future, to have a like NRF 52840 and a Pico on the same board, to have a like GP 2040 CE like wireless receiver. That could maybe work for this project. I intend that to work for lots of projects. That'd be a really cool thing to get like kind of standardized across my projects. How is the trackpad vibration versus Steam Deck? It's not as good. The Steam Deck does a really good job of like you can feel it right on your thumb. And I've played around with the location of the vibration motor, but I actually like it where it is now because it's a good combo of like feeling it on your thumb and being able to feel it in your palm. And I would say it's a little different. I'm still using what they call like an LRA motor, like a really good haptic motor and a haptic driver. So it is a very sharp, like nice click, but it's definitely different than the Steam Deck. I don't know. Linus liked it. Was that in the video? I think it's in the video. But Linus liked it. He's like, it feels really good. And I'm like, oh, awesome. And I'm like, oh, what did I say? He said it felt really good. And I'm like, good. That's one of the things that like I was worried about. And he's like, oh, but I didn't say it was great. Or something like that. Because, yeah, it's... Well, I don't know. It is good, but it's like the Steam Deck one is really good, right? It's like trying to compare haptics with like the MacBook trackpad, you know? You can't make haptic... Like, if I'm just a dude, you know, I can't beat haptics of like a high-end device. Haptics is a whole like field in and of itself. Would it be cheaper to go with a standard half-weight spinning motor? Yeah, but even the LRA motors that I picked out aren't particularly expensive. But so that's what I was originally using, was like little disc motors. I think they call them ERM, eccentric rotating mass. They really ain't it, you know. They're fine for regular vibration, but like for those clicks, you know, because you get the clicky feeling. Just wasn't it. If you don't care about rumble and don't... Can I put it under the trackpad, or is that a bad idea? Okay, so I did do that on one of the ones I made. But for some reason, I think the trackpad... It might just be like an order of how things are initialized. But for some reason, the trackpad fails to initialize sometimes. Like it won't boot. And I'm like really confused. Maybe because so what I did is I modified the 3D model for the trackpad spring and have a spot to put the vibration motor on there. And I think it's because it's vibrating that. Maybe it's vibrating the connector of the... Because it vibrates every time it boots. That's like... It's tuning itself. But I just kept it in because it's like a good way to like show, oh, the controller's turning on. And I think the trackpad's trying to initialize while the thing vibrates. And I think maybe it's shaking the ribbon cable. I don't know. But sometimes the trackpad just wouldn't boot. And I don't know. Yeah, it certainly, you could feel it a lot more there because it was so much closer to your thumb. But honestly, the spot it's in now isn't that bad. Okay, anyway. Why does the haptics need to be replaced? Need to be replaced, doesn't this seem like? Haptics need to be replaced. Well, my project... I'm not sure if I'm understanding your question. Because my project is completely like bespoke, different. I'm not actually like ripping the parts out of a real Steam Deck, right? I made my own trackpad. I'm designing my own haptic solution. I designed my own PCBs. So yes, the Steam Deck does have haptics built in, and they're very good. And that's what I was saying. It's hard for me to match it. I still think they're pretty good, but I'm not gonna lie to you and say it's better than the Steam Deck one. Oh, weird. Do the motors use magnets which could screw with stuff when it's that close? Yes, maybe. I don't know. Trackpads themselves are kind of magic. Oh yeah, is that maybe the confusion? Yeah, I'm talking about my controller I made. This one. But yeah, maybe that's... The trackpad... It was so hard to understand the documentation to design it. I mean, I'm an electrical engineer. I had to take electromagnetism as a class. But dude, it's crazy. Theoretically, because the sensor is capacitive, a magnetic field should not mess with it, but maybe the electric fields are, because the way the LRA motors work is it's basically a solenoid, so it's an electromagnet. Which, I mean, it's similar to a motor, but it's the coil, I guess maybe the direction of the coil, and maybe it's creating an electric field. But it still doesn't make sense as why the sensor or the trackpad wouldn't boot. The trackpad does sometimes boot, like goes through its init and then it's fine and it works. And it doesn't seem to have any problems, but I don't know. Thought I was ripping apart broken Steam Decks like finding broken Steam turning controller. No, not my project, but there is a project that is doing that, which I had put in the chat a while ago. So yeah. Something similar and get used to the difference. I use it without vibration and Steam trackpad feel pretty bland on their own. Having vibration means. Yeah. Oh no, definitely. Actually, currently, there's no way to even turn it off. That's one of the like things I want to put on the screen because that's not something you can do in Steam Input for my controller. So it's one of the like the screen UIs I want to add. Currently, yeah, there's no way to turn it off. The clicking, I don't know. It'd be really easy to add a button combination to do it, but I wanted to make it part of the whole screen experience. Has anyone reached out or gotten anywhere in remaking the triggers? Not really. There's someone on the Discord that looked like they looked into it. Let's see. Oh, got a message? Oh, cool. Let's see. I don't know. I saw someone was like looking into it. Anyway. Yeah, and it's like that little internal piece that holds the magnet. Because the outer piece, like the piece you actually touch, it comes with the extreme rank case if you want to replace it. But it's the inner one with the little magnet that's a really odd shape. Yeah, they're like 20 bucks each. Exactly. That's like, I'm saying like, that'd be the first place probably to make this project cheaper. Is just a 3D print replacement. I already have it programmed that you can calibrate the triggers and the joysticks. So even if you're using like a different size magnet or it's like whatever, it doesn't have the exact same like magnetic strength as the other one or as the original Steam Deck. It can still be calibrated to whichever you use. So it's like, yeah, that's the first place to look to lower the price. It would be the trigger, and that's specifically that little piece. I was actually thinking about just biting the bullet and buying a 3D scanner. Because like I could just 3D scan it and then I'd still probably remodel it, but at least I'd have like the reference that's the right size and everything. And I also need it for another project I want to work on. Are you looking at button remapping on the controller itself via the screens, or is everything going to be through Steam Input? I'd like to be able to do it on the screens as well. And that does go along in the future. Someone asked about X input. Like if I want to support multiple like enumerations, like if I want to be able to enumerate as X input for, say, if I want to play a game outside of Steam that doesn't support S input for whatever reason, even though S input is supported by SDL, which means it should be supported by every game. But yeah, then being able to rebind on the screen would be helpful in case in situations where you don't have whatever, maybe borrow an iPhone newsletter. Yeah, that's an option too. I've never tried it. I don't know how accurate it is. You're asking about license with everything. Yeah, so like if the dongle could do multiple different like enumerations. So if like I had like my S input's obviously gonna be my main mode, but if I wanted to do like another mode programmed in there, like how some controllers do, where they'll work as X input or they'll work as switch. I don't know if you ever use like a GameSir controller, because that's what they do. They like literally will re-enumerate as a different thing. And that's easy to do, right? You just add more things and then save something to the flash memory that says when it boots, which one to enumerate as, which then can be changed. So it's like not a difficult thing to do. But if I wanted to do that, then yeah, a way to rebind the back buttons would be necessary. All right. I think it might be time for me to wrap up. I might. Hopefully you guys are all on the Discord, because maybe I will say something if I do plan on streaming some more. I didn't get nearly as far as I was hoping to today. Not games for exactly do the IPITO. Yeah, they both do that, right? They'll support X input and switch, and sometimes generic HID and sometimes DS4. But like, yeah, there's like usually a button combination, and then it'll reboot and it'll show up on the computer as a different device altogether. I'm pretty sure the 8-bit Do does that. I don't know about the ZDX lens. I've seen that one mostly because it's one of the few modular controllers, even though I feel like people don't talk about that. But you can put the left joystick down here and have them parallel. Yeah, there, which I think is really cool. But then you need a different front plate. And like, where's the front plate? Where can you buy that front plate that with the parallel sticks? Oh, there you go. Yeah, but then you need to buy a different. Oh, D input, X input, and switch. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to definitely try to be for the next stream. Okay, perfect. Getting sidetracked. I gotta feed my cats. I'm gonna drink some water, and then I'm gonna go to bed. I have Chinese class tomorrow. Did that have the Metro 6? AliExpress? Okay, that makes sense. It is a Chinese controller, isn't it? I've heard good things about it, or read good things on the controller subreddit, because I lurk there. New version of Fusion just likes to crash on me. Anyway, this is looking like a decent size. What I might do then before the next stream is maybe finish up the design, because who wants to watch me 3D model more, and print it out, and then next time maybe I can assemble it. I can set up my actual workbench cam. I have a workbench right here with like an overhead. I can do like a workbench cam and this cam, and then we can put it all together, write some really simple code, flash it on here, and yeah, that could be fun. I can answer more questions during it. All right, well, thank you guys all for showing up and asking lots of questions. That was a lot of fun. I definitely want to keep doing this. I think this is a good way to also be productive with these projects too. Like I say, I'm busy, so it's good to like sit down and talk about it and spitball ideas too. So thank you all again. I will probably post in the Discord about this, but I think if I am going to stream, it'll probably be maybe next Wednesday. I think Wednesday is probably the best day for me to do this. I should probably try to do it earlier, though, it sounds like, because for some people this is already very late. So good night, guys. Thank you.